to be free. Sex is something like you using the toilet. But now we now say, why is it being frowned upon? Now, if you go back to history, and I'm going to go back to, because some of people here has been coming with the Bible. All this thing started just 2,000 years ago. Go prehistoric, because Socrates told you, he said, the first fool is the man that drew a circle around himself and said, this is my land. So he's talking at the start of time. And then you ask yourself, how are societies formed? How are rules made? So let's say we were all gathering fruits, and then someone got so wise and decided, look, I can't go on gathering fruits. I've got to form a community. I've got to form uh, my own domain. And then he draws a circle around himself and say, this is my land. And then he realizes that he needs hands to work that land. In other words, the first trade of man was farming. And then he made rules because he has to keep those hands. And how do you rule a people? How do you govern a people? Sorry, you make rules. And then you say, if you do this, this happens. If you do this, this happens. And when you make rules, then you get some people to enforce it. And you're making those rules against nature because you're doing it. That is why Socrates said the first man that drew a circle around himself is the fool, because you're going against nature. Humans were meant to be free. So because you want to keep your land, you want to keep your property, then you start making rules because you want to govern them. And then you say, this kind of persons must not do this. This kind of persons must not do this. And then you set out a kind of enforcers, which is now called the police. You set out enforcers to enforce your rules. But human nature, being what human nature is, before time, you adapt to those rules. You don't need to be told them anymore. It's just your normal, you're adapting to what is not natural to you. So go back to what I asked you and said, have you ever seen a cat on a leash? Because if you try to put a cat on a leash, then you are creating a problem asking yourself, why don't cats want to be on a leash? That is what you're asking yourself. Why are we into infidelity? Because that is our natural self. We're just trying to adapt to what is not natural.